heart of Kawangware slums, where survival for the fittest is the rule of the game, a woman named Dorcas Mazune emerged from the harsh realities of a polygamous family. Daring to dream became her compass in navigating a life marked by challenges and resilience.
I've lived in several parts of Kawangware. So we lived in Deliverance, we lived at 46, and then there was a point we moved to stage 2. Yeah, if you come from Kawangware, you know those areas. I went to several schools. I went to about 8 of them. My primary school life was quite a challenge. The reason behind me moving to different schools was the school fees issue. So I used to go to one school. After I stay in that school for a while, then the school fees accumulates. It gets to a point that we can't pay it anymore, then move to a different school. So the challenge of school fees affected me because it was quite difficult to make friends and keep them. And then it was traumatizing. Now, remember, I've been changing schools because we've not been able to afford school fees. The uniform is also a problem. The cleanliness is also a problem because now you can't afford the water. You can't afford the electricity bill. It got to a point where we actually owed about 14,000 on electricity alone. And so that became a challenge. I remember going to school with torn uniform, not just torn, it was torn, I repaired. There's a student who, the parent shift schools, so he gave me a tracksuit. And now since I had the one uniform, I actually changed and dressed up in the tracksuit on a Monday because the uniform was not dry. I remember going to school and people were like shocked because I have a tracksuit. That was how much life was not going our way because kids were like, wow, you're wearing a tracksuit and it's expensive and stuff like that. I remember going to school because it was quite a distance and because of the school fees being affordable, because it was a children's home, I used to walk from Kawangware to the Goreti corner. And I needed to be in school really early, at around, by 6 I need to be in school, so I have to leave at around 5 because I'm also working and I'm a girl. I remember it being very scary for me. I used to be afraid like every morning and I can't afford the transport, which was about 10 shillings to take me to the Goreti corner.
For Dorcas and her sister, survival wasn't just about clothing. It was about facing the struggles that life in the slums presented.
My sister and I used to struggle to find food because now my parents are struggling with school fees. We are struggling with uniform. We are struggling with accommodation. The rent was also a problem. My father got to a point where he left the window open because we were getting eviction notices. So, and you know you can't go anywhere. It got to a point that we were paying the rent for about 4,500 and it accumulated to 21,000. That is because you're not able to pay the rent. So my father was able to open a window just in case anything, in case they decide to lock the door, the whole family is going to go through the window to be able to access the house. And to my dad, that was stressful because now imagine at this moment I'm a kid and I'm trying to ask for stuff because you don't have food, you don't have school fees, you don't have clothes, you don't have this and that. And he's also facing all these other things. That's also what enables me to understand what he's going through or what he was going through when everything was happening.
As her family faced hardships, Dorcas found herself contemplating the worst, but she ultimately clung to the assurance that Jesus came to give life more abundantly.
Life pushed us to where we had to grow up faster than our age. I remember there are times that you notice that my parents, they did their best. That's what I can say. They did their best. They tried the most that they could, but then life was not working out. At I think 14 is when I got the ulcers. Now, I used to take myself to hospital. I used to just, when you're sick, you figure it out also on your own. So I used to go to the hospital, they prescribed medicine for me, then that's how I got the pills. I added them and then I took. I remember crawling out of the house on all fours and I was feeling like, oh, now this is it. My life is actually going to end. Weirdly, I was feeling relief and fear. It's a weird combination. I was feeling relief that finally I'm just going to rest. but fear that, where am I going? You know, you've heard of life after death. Where am I going? Who is going to welcome me? So I remember crawling out, and then I used to have a friend who was actually a gangster, who actually came to pick me up and took me to his place, and there were other guys there. They had their guns. I think, yeah, they had their guns there, and I was carried to the home. So they were like, no, you can't die, you know. We have to do something. So the other guys, the gangsters that were there, the thieves and that were there, were like, no, this woman, if in case cops come here and she's dead, we're going to get caught. So we need to dispose of her. Now, I'm in a situation where I'm fading off and I'm hearing them talking about, you know, taking care of me. Not in a good way, getting rid of me. And I remember weirdly, the place that I got help from was the darkest part that you could ever seek help from.
Despite surviving challenging situations, Dorcas grappled with emotional wounds that could be triggered at any moment.
I remember there was an attempted rape twice while staying at my parents' home. And these are the things that I used to share, and when I report them, adults are like, are you sure? So now I'm carrying the burden of all these things. The trauma of somebody is trying to do this to you in your own home and they don't feel like that was traumatic for me. And you try to express it to adults and they're like, right? I also remember, but the best thing was my mom listened. My mom listened to me when I was telling her these things. But then in Kenya, you can't do anything. After that, you have to figure it out. And therapy is expensive. You can't have somebody whom will be able to talk to you through it.
By God's grace, Dorcas completed primary school with a renewed mind, awaiting her calling letter and determined to rewrite her family's history.
No, I was waiting for my calling letter, which I did not get. I don't understand why until this moment. But I was happy I passed, but at the same time I was sad because I knew there's no way I'm going to go to high school. There's no way we are going to figure out high school. But God made a way. So what my dad did was he now went to his friends and started borrowing cash from one friend to another, one friend to another, one friend to another. And that's how he was able to accumulate. I remember when we were actually going to school, I went to Kisau Girls. I remember on our way to school, he was actually borrowing the final cash that we needed for me to at least get a quarter of what was needed for school. So we went past, I had the uniform, I had everything, but now we had to pass through Machakos, borrow some more cash so that I can be able to go to high school. So when we got to Kisau, I also didn't have like everything that was needed for school. We got there late. He had to stay back and actually lodge for the night so that he can be able now to get me other shoes. I remember we were actually required to have a certain type of school rubbers, which we could not afford, so we went and bought them Tumba. When buying the Mtumba version, getting to school, they were like, no, we can't take that. So my dad had to also call more people, ask for more money, borrow more money so that we can be able to get the shoes that I need for school. So I went to Kisau Girls 2016, no, 20, can't remember. I went to Kisau, stayed there for 4 years, but finishing the 4 years was not easy. Because I remember I did not have school fees for almost 2-3 terms. But one of those terms I was sent home. I had to stay home for the whole term. And we were getting ready for KCSE. So I remember miraculously I came back to school, right? Didn't have the entire school fees. But then coming back to the clerk, they're telling me your school fees has been paid. I'm like, how? Until this very moment, I don't know who paid my school fees. I don't know. The reason why, despite everything, I was trying to work extremely hard was because I am looking where I'm coming from. I was looking at where I was coming from. I'm looking at the situation my parents are in. I'm looking at how we are struggling to find a meal. I'm looking at how my sister is also, you know, she got a scholarship, but the sponsor, it actually got to a point where my dad had to go to the school because they were now using our misfortune to benefit from it, because the school was said my sister has a sponsor. She's getting letters from the sponsor, but we have to also still pay school fees. So that it got to a point my father was like, no, you can't keep on using the misery of our family to benefit from it. So that's how my sister was able to go to school sort of smoothly because of the sponsor. But for me, I had to work extremely hard because there is no sponsor. It's just you and you and you. So you have to figure out a way of coming out and sort of getting your family out of everything.
Dorcas excelled in high school, met the love of her life, and became a fighter, not only for herself, but also for her community.
When we started dating, he actually encouraged me to pursue education. Like, he looked at how I had passion for kids, and that's how he was like, you really love kids. Why not channel that towards doing education, English and literature? So he actually supported me through registering and everything for the University of Nairobi. After that, oh man, talking about Biko is difficult.
FamilyNews.Today provides an escape room from the clutter through our podcasts, from church escapades
get disappointed with God. And I think it's a misplaced anger.
to daily devotionals,
The beauty about God's love is that it was focused on all that God had.
to financial and life tips, bedtime stories for your child. All these and much more available just for you on FamilyNews.Today on Spotify, Google Podcast, and SoundCloud. Insights at your fingertips.
An idle mind is said to be the devil's workshop, but for Dorcas, acting on the first idea that came to her mind became a life-changing moment.
I remember walking in the streets of Kawangware and thinking to myself, you know what, since I've tried everything with my life and it's not working out, and I remember every challenge that I went through as a girl, and nobody was there for me. What do I do with my life pertaining this? So I remember calling one of the girls that we went to primary school with who had given birth. This girl had given birth in Form 2, right? When I was still in high school. She was also in high school, so she gave birth. She was a total orphan. And I called her to check up on her and ask her, hey, how are things? What's going on? And she told me, what she told me broke me. What she told me was shocking. Because I asked her, I remember now, I thought about this for a while, then I asked her way later, and then that's when she opened up and told me, first of all, since she was at her children's home, they discontinued her scholarship, right? And I remember her telling me she was walking down the streets and she was pregnant at 16, and then people were mocking her, singing a song at her. There's this song, Nerea, that was saying, usitoe mimba yangu, Mungu alileta mtoto na akaleta na sahani yake. So she explained to me how people used to mock her on the road. She explained to me how people used to make fun of her just because she's a young mom, right? And to me, that struck a nerve. I was like, it happened, you're a young mom. It's not like you intentionally chose to be a young mom. It's not like you were given a choice and you decided, I'm going to pick the hardest one. So after thinking about that, I let it go. And then I called my friend Esther and asked her, hey, I told her, I have an idea, but we don't have the finances, we don't have anything. What if we support young moms? What if we support ladies? What if we provide for the young moms that don't have? And she looked at me like I'm crazy. She was like, I've just dropped out of university because I don't have the funds. I am home. Both of us are struggling. We don't have anything.
But she told me one thing. Actually, when she was talking to this girl told her when she was pregnant, all she needed was just a friend to talk to, somebody to talk to tell that person how she was feeling then. So when she told me about that, I was like, okay, we can do this.
A moment of inspiration struck Dorcas during one of her father's outreach programs, leading to the creation of the Bright Star Initiative in her home area.
Bright Star Initiative, initially it was intended for young moms, but at this moment that's not the only purpose that I dream for Bright Star Initiative. The dream that I have for Bright Star Initiative is to be able to support anybody in need, to support the elderly, to support the disabled, to support the young youths, because men most of the time are not focused on when it comes to people who need support, right? So the reason and the purpose for Bright Star, it was born because of young moms, but it is going to grow into so many things. Bright Star Initiative, when I started it, I did not think of it as something that I wanted to be so big. I didn't want it to be like world renowned or anything. I wanted to be able to help. The reason that Bright Star is here, it's so that it can just create a path or a channel for a young mom to be able to support herself through life. By giving them diapers, by giving them food or medical support is not enough. Looking at the things that they have gone through. I remember there was a situation whereby one young mom called me at night and told me the dad had chased her away and the dad was violent. So I had to figure out a way of getting a house, getting amenities in that house so that she can be able to go there as a safe house, right? And I can't say I supported her, I can't say I helped her, because right now she's the one who's figuring out her life, right? So Bright Star is there to be a channel for anyone who needs support to be able to support themselves. I try as much as possible not to create a vision for the future, because at the moment when you sit down and listen to what these people are going through, to what my moms are going through, you will want to be at the present. And at the present, I'm looking at figuring out a way of how I can get a safe house. Because they tell me situations where they've been chased out and they can't come stay with me. They tell me situations where their parents are very, very brutal and they beat them up and there's no place I can take them. They tell me there's one mom who came here with a black eye from the baby daddy, the guy who got her pregnant, beating her up. And there's no place I can take them. So, and it breaks my heart seeing that they have to go back to that same situation because I can't do anything. So what I see is maybe a safe house. I see us having food, like a food pantry where in case they're about to sleep hungry, because if a mom stayed for 3 whole days without eating anything and they're breastfeeding, that's a situation that needs, so I see having a food pantry where I can just buy food and keep it there, and then in case they need anything, they can come and get it.
We try and create a safe space for them to open their hearts out, because outside here there's a lot of stigma. Their parents are not giving them the ear that they need. So we wanted to stand as a gap, give them a platform where they can just pour out themselves out, tell them that is not the end of life. You can still go back to where you were and try and fix 1, 2, 3 things.
Despite not being a mother herself, Dorcas sympathizes with young mothers facing devastating stories.
There's one mom who told me that the parents told her to go out, so she had to sleep at a toilet. And this is a young mom, right? So, and the trauma that they've gone through, everything that they've gone through, I'm just there to listen. The financial aid is not much compared to what they're actually really going through. They have been in situations where they have to live with the baby daddies. I remember there is one who mentioned that the baby daddy beats her up, but she can't go anywhere. 1, because it's taboo. 2, because there's a tradition whereby apparently if you live with a young baby, the baby will die. So they have carried these things and they have to stay in abusive relationships, they have to stay. So when I sit back, I still feel like I've not done enough. I still feel like there's so much to do. And if I look at the numbers, it will lie to me that I've been doing something and it will make me relax and not do anything anymore.
Nilipata mimba nikiwa na miaka 18. Nikajiuliza sasa hii mimba ndaifanya aje? Sasa unajua nafikirianga nitoe ama nizae. Kitu ikaniambia tu usitoe. Jua hata pia mamangu hakugombana sana. Ali calm down, alinyamaza tu. Kaniambia ndalea. Sasa si nikakaa kwetu, hiyo pondo napata unasumbuana na baba mtoi. Yaani ni mtu mwenye pia yeye hajaipea mtu mimba, wewe ndo wa kwanza. Sasa mnasumbuana. Kamaliza like 3 weeks. Rafiki yangu akakuja kwetu. Akaniambia, "Je, kuna mradi nasikia ni inaitwa Bright Star, iko hapa hivi juu Kanaso. Twende tuone venye inaweza kusaidia, kaita kusaidia na pampers, nasikia wanasaidia ma young mothers." So unajua pia sisi tulikuwa tuna tense, tuko kama ama wao ni watu wa kututumia tu akishapata pesa waende. Sasa ndo tukakuja hapa, tukakaa. Last by the way. Nimemaliza hapa mwaka 1 na miezi 3.
Mimi nilishika mimba nikiwa na 20 na ilikuwa ngumu sana, lakini ni Mungu tu. Nikazaa. Nilikuja hapa Bright Star kama mtu wangu ako 7 months, sasa yako 2 years. As in sikuwa nime-expect plus shule pia nilikuwa nafaa niende form 2. As in mzazi pia si unajua lazima tu atete kugombanishwa.
Nilipata mimba tu last year mwezi wa 4 nikazaa December. Hata Bright Star nilikutana tu na rafiki yangu akaniambia kuna watu wenye wanasaidia watu wenye wamezaa young mothers. So nikakuja wananisaidia kwa pampers anytime, kama sina kitu na call kama kona na kutumia, but most time wananisaidia.
There are moments that they tell me stories that break me, and I need to go somewhere and break down as well, because I need to be strong, but I can't be strong alone. So my husband Babu, because Steven has been there throughout the journey of Bright Star, has been supporting the ideas, has been even financially supporting me at times when I didn't have a job. So him being there, I don't think I can be able to do this alone. There is one story of a young mom who mentioned the way she got pregnant. So she got home late, and the mom said, "You have to figure it out. I'm not letting you inside my house." So she stays in Kibera. And since the mom told her, "You have to figure it out, you have to go, I don't want to see you around the house," she had a friend who was male. The friend who was male told her, "You can come live with me. I'll give you support for the night, right?" And then when the night came, the guy told her, "And you know what? You have to pay me for the services rendered." And that's how she got pregnant. She was still a virgin, but the situations, just because she got home late, and just because she got home late, she's now a young mom. Nobody is there to tell her, "You know what, it's not your fault, and we can go through this together." Because I remember the things that I was going through in life, nobody was there to tell me it's okay. I remember I didn't have anyone to listen to me. I remember I didn't have anyone to tell me it's going to be okay.
Dorcas equipped herself for the tough journey with these young mothers.
That's the reason why I went to ZTech to do counseling psychology, because I told myself, I started Bright Star, and then that's after starting Bright Star is when I was able to go back to school and do counseling psychology. I did that so that I can be able to better support them. I did that so that I can be able to better understand and give them psychological help. Getting therapy is expensive, and being able to provide therapy for these young moms is like the dream for me. And that's why I decided to let go of doing education and turn to psychology. I have individual connection with each and every mom. And even if Bright Star is to get to have like 400 young moms, I will make sure I have an individual connection to each and every young mom, because I know that is the most important part, and that is the crucial and the roots for Bright Star, to be able to support an individual.
Bright Star Initiative not only provides psychological support, but also offers vocational training to these young mothers.
We started initiatives where I teach them how to make soap, so that they can be able to start their small businesses from there. So you learn how to make soap, you make soap and sell the soap. I've also taught them how to make some street foods. We've done samosas, we've done bajias, and by making this, they are able to start their businesses on their own. So we've been able to actually support some of them to start businesses, street food businesses, so that they can stand on their own. Some of them have been able to go back to school. My moms have been able to go back to school. Some of them have been able to get jobs. Because most of the time they were telling me, they came in with the mentality that, we go to ask for jobs and they tell us because you're young moms, we don't want to bring you here and stuff like that. So I told them, you're the one who has the purpose and the choice to write your own narrative. So from there, I encouraged them and they were able to actually start their path in getting jobs. And some of them have jobs. We've started with moms that right now their babies are in schools. We've been able to support some of their kids to go to school, and to me that's the beauty of Bright Star. We have an initiative called the Hair Day. Hair Day, we come together, we wash hair, we do face scrubs, we do face masks. They get to pamper themselves. The reason why we do the pampering is because the moms got to grow up way too fast. The challenge that they were facing in life, that they got to be moms, they currently at the moment they don't focus on themselves anymore. They are more the baby. And so I thought, why not do something so that they can be able to relax, they can be able to see themselves in a different light, they can be able to gain back their confidence. During some sessions, we talk to them about salvation. We talk to them, and because I always say this, I'm not a good person. That's not the reason why I started Bright Star. It's because of who is in me. I cannot tell you that I am amazing, that's why we're doing all that we're doing. I tell them that, I remind them, I tell them, Dorcas is not a good person. Whoever is in Dorcas is what is helping you. The Jesus in Dorcas is the one who's caring for you. The Jesus in Dorcas is the one who's taking care of you. Because being me, being Dorcas, I can't do anything to support you the way you would like to be supported. I can't. But the Jesus in me is who is supporting you. The Jesus in me is who is helping you. The Jesus in me is who is crying with you. Because they break down. Somebody tells you how the parent decided to hide a loaf of bread from her and the baby. She cried to the mom to give her a slice of bread for the kid, and the mom said no. So a woman will break down, and I tell them, the one who's comforting you is not me. Jesus is the one who's comforting you. So I'm not perfect, I'm not righteous, I'm not good. My actions and deeds are not, but the one who saved me, the many times that I wanted to commit suicide, or the many times that I tried committing suicide, is the one who's helping these girls and me.
The beneficiaries expressed their joy at Bright Star and the assurance of a brighter future.
Imenisaidia juu najifeel, yani kutoka nizae, nimebai tu Pampers 3 weeks peke yake. Hizo zingine zote mpaka sasa mtoi yako na mwaka na mwezi 3 anaingiza ini. Sijai nunua Pampers. Dawa sijai nunua. Ni biko na simamia zote.
Wananipea mawaidha, yani vile naweza kaa, vile naweza lea mtoto wangu, na bado naweza kaa na nipate mtu mwingine wa baadaye kunisaidia.
Sasa tukiwa wote hivi, si yuko peke yangu, sijifikiri kimawazo. Naweza pata mtu wa kuongelesha. Pia kipampers, kitu yote, pia mtoto yeye akiwa msick pia tunapiganga doro.
Nilikuanga na stress. Unapata biko anawachezesha games, stress zinaenda. Unasahau, yani hadi unatamani ingekuwa kama boarding muishi tu huko.
Now at 24, with a golden heart to support those in need, Dorcas shares her story of resilience, compassion, and love.
My father has been able to change, my mom has been able to change, just because of the one Jesus I'm telling you about. The same God that saved me, saved my parents. Because he was a pastor, but he was not a pastor, right? But right now, he actually is the one who helped me come up with the name Bright Star Initiative. And if I tell you the father I have right now is a different one. The one that I have right now is the one that I turn to every time I have a problem at Bright Star. I'm like, I don't know what to do here. And he's the one who tells me, just relax, we're going to figure it out. The relationship with my father has massively changed because, oh man, it has changed because of Jesus.
Funding the initiative from her own pocket, Dorcas is fueled by the success stories and encourages others facing challenges.
No matter how hard financial times are, it's not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing. One thing I'm sure of is I'm not going to let these girls go. And if I leave them, I'll do the same things people did to me when I was growing up. When I needed help, people left.
I'd like to shout out to Dorcas because it is through her that this dream of Bright Star has now become a reality. So if she could not have shared that idea with us, Bright Star could not be here. So I'd really like to thank her a lot for sharing her dream with us because it is now a reality.
Mimi naweza waambia asanti. Yaani hata sijui naweza walipa aje. Wamenifurahisha, wamenisaidia maisha yangu. Naweza waambia tu asanti, Mungu awaongezee.
Hata sijui naweza sema nini because amenisaidia sana kimawazo, kifedha, kipampers, yani amenisaidia sana advice.
Namwambia asante sana, asante kwa kukua kwa mimi yani asante kwa yani ni ule mtu mwenye anakupea hope.
To every young mother feeling frustrated, Dorcas has a message.
You're not alone. It may feel like it. Maybe there's a Dorcas in your life that you don't know about. Don't stop talking about what you're going through, because keeping quiet with it is what creates an inner soul. And it's all going to be okay. It's going to work out. It's going to work out.
Asijali, maisha inaendanga hivyo. Hujui Mungu amekupangia nini next. Huwezi jua maisha ya kesho. Asitoe mimba, mtu asimdanganye atoe mimba. Atajaribu. Hata wazazi wa sasa unaona ati amedungia mtoto wake familia asipate mimba. Mtu wa kupata mimba ni wa kupata mimba. Hujui bahati yake itatoka wapi.
Be a Dorcas in your community, sharing love and compassion with those in need. If you have a story to share, text us on 20316 or WhatsApp on 0786 316 316.